What is good, everyone? So, yeah, welcome to my first live stream on this channel. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, okay? Because I have no idea. I'm totally talking into the void. But let's see. So, first things first, right? So, sometimes I want to stream because making YouTube videos is. Oh, I think you cannot actually see me. Okay, now you can see me. Well done, Robin. So sometimes making YouTube videos is a lot. It's a lot of work, right? So instead of doing that, I thought maybe sometimes I just stream and talk about some news, maybe about some things that I want to share faster. For example, today there were two really big news that I want to talk about very quickly. And then I want to also talk about the differences between Cursor and Claude Code and why I think right now a lot of people underestimate the power of Cursor because there's a lot of hype around Claude Code. So let's jump into it and talk about one of the two big news that popped up today. So first of all, Cypher Alpha. Cypher Alpha is a new what's called stealth model that just popped up today. We don't really know what model is behind it. In the past, traditionally, these were OpenAI models. The thing is, usually people really like these stealth models, but this one, people said it is dumb as bread. So I haven't tested it myself yet, but it looks like it's really, really bad. But there's two models that it could be, right? So the first one that people suggest is Grok 4. Grok, of course, being the model from Elon Musk or X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not sure because there's supposed to be two models of Grok, that one would be like a general intelligence model and one would be one that is specialized for coding, which I'm actually really excited to test myself. So I don't think it is Grok, despite what people say. I do think it is what OpenAI calls their open weight model, because here's the thing. So far, OpenAI did only run models that would be private. So no one really knew what they were up to, how they were trained. They were not open source, so not everyone could run them, only OpenAI could, right? And now they want to release a model that is like fully open source that people can use and it's free for everyone and whatever. And I think it is this model. If you want to try it, it is currently on Open Router completely for free. So if you have either Visual Studio Code or maybe even Cursor, whatever you want to use, and you use something like Rule Code or Klein, then you can use the Cypher Alpha model with this model string right here. Wait, let me show you on the screen. With this model string right here, the Open Router Cypher Alpha :free. So you can totally use it and test it out for yourself. Yo, what's up? You're next home. Nice to have you here. So then that is cool, right? A new model is always exciting, but the big news of today, and that is very related to this video, is that Anysphere, which is the company that owns Cursor, hired two of the biggest Claude Code team members that they could. Specifically, they hired Kat, who used to be the product manager of Claude Code, and they also hired Boris, who I believe was the lead dev of Claude Code. And that is either really good news or really bad news. It depends on how you look at it. For me, I love Claude Code, and I think that Anthropic has a huge funding, so they will find people and replace Kat and Boris quickly, even after they were very painfully poached by Cursor. But if you are a Cursor lover or subscriber, then this is going to be really good news for you, right? I have a subscription for Cursor and for Claude Code, so for me it's going to be good news. But what I can expect, or what we can expect here, is that one of two things is going to happen. Either the Cursor team goes out and gives into this hype of terminal-based coders like the one from Claude Code, right? If you haven't used Claude Code yet, obviously do it. It's really good. That's her, by the way. So both of them actually were hired by Cursor. That's really bad. So yeah, that's a bad day for Cursor, for a bad day for Claude Code and a really good day for Cursor. But if you haven't tried it yet, it is basically, I can show you actually, it is a coder that runs in the console, just like, I really need to get a grip on the screen share. I'm gonna leave it here. So this is Claude Code, and these two were just hired by Cursor, right? So this is Claude Code. If you haven't seen it before, it's this little black box that runs in on your system, and you can just ask it, similar to the Cursor chat, right? And yo, what's up, James? Good to see you here, man. Claude is really, really good. I use this a lot because you have the Max subscription. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? So this is actually the Cursor, but here, that's the subscriptions that are available on Anthropic for Claude right now. I am currently on the $100 a month Max plan, and what that does is it gives you basically infinite coding for $100 a month. Ooh, James just said something really interesting. James says, and he quickly realized, because he just got it yesterday, he quickly realized that it doesn't run on Windows. So very briefly on that, James, there is actually a way to run it on Windows. It is a bit complicated. I'm running on a Mac, so it's a bit easier for me. But there is a way. Someone in the Blueprint community actually posted about this, of how you can run it on Windows. And that is maybe worth your time. But because now there's also the subscription for Cursor, the Ultra subscription here, which I'm gonna like run, I think, in this video. I think I'm gonna upgrade to the $200 a month Cursor subscription. And because you have also 20x usage on the Cursor subscription for $200 a month, it is, yo, what's up, guys? Thanks to all of you all being here. Yeah, exactly, James. It's the WSL. It's the one, exactly. But here's the thing, and that's really the point of this video, right? Right now, there is a lot of hype around Claude Code. And fair enough, I love Claude Code. It is really, really freaking good. I've coded a lot with it. But here's the thing. If you are on the $100 a month subscription with Claude Code, right? Then I think you're good. You're good. You're definitely getting an absolute killer deal, because for $100 a month, it is very hard to imagine writing this much high quality AI code with Claude Opus and Sonnet, right? So the default way of Claude Code is that for the first 20% of your rate limit, which resets every 5 hours, you use Claude Opus, and then it will automatically downgrade you to Sonnet. Opus is really good. No, I mean 200. I mean 100 Livux. It's so you have two plans, right? You have the 100 and 200. And the 100, a lot of people tell me that they ran into their limits with a $100 plan. I haven't yet. I think it's very easy to run into the limit if you specify that you want to use Opus, right? If you just want to run Claude Opus, then you will run into the limit very quickly, even for the $100 plan. I haven't tested the $200 plan, but I imagine that even on the $200 plan, it's really, really tough to use Opus, because Opus eats a lot. But let me look at some questions. So Claude Code, let me put it on screen. So Claude Code also works for the Pro plan, right? Yeah, that's right. So you can have the Pro plan right now, and it has access to Claude Code now, which is really cool. It is not the most, it will not give you like the most amount of coding capabilities. You will run into limits. A couple of friends of mine run Claude Code in the Pro subscription. It is still better than nothing, I'll tell you that much. And it's really, really nice that Anthropic even gives us the opportunity to code for literally, I think I'm on the monthly plan, which I think is going to, yeah, exactly. It's $20 a month, and you still get Claude Code for this. So it's pretty good. But of course, if you really want to like blast through the code and write a lot of it every day, then The $100, which is what I'm on, is a lot better value. And the 200, which if Cursor hadn't introduced their $200 a month plan, then I would already be on the $200 a month plan for Anthropic, because I would just run Claude Opus all the time, right? Without limits, basically. But yeah, that's it. Okay, so let me put another question on screen. So for those of us with no coding background, but truly grasp that we are in an amazing time, I love this already. With these capabilities, what's the best way to move past this learning curve of coding? Wow, that's a really tough one, Brandon. The learning curve is real, because I got to be honest with you. I used to be a developer for I used to be, because I stopped for like 5 years or so, right? But I used to be a developer for 20 years, and then I realized that everything is like up to date now with like coding, and suddenly I regained my passion for it, right? And even though I have 2 decades of experience with coding, it was very tough for me to jump into like Superbase, and it is really it is a learning curve. There's a frustration, but what you have to ask yourself is like, imagine you're able to be like this person, right? Where like you're coding something, like I'm always building stuff for like my wife, for example, or some other automations, and it empowers you so much to just build even the simplest things, you know? So there is no shortcut except for like learning from the right places, of course, but there's no shortcut. It's gonna be frustrating, and there's no way around it. But I highly encourage you to do it anyway, because it's just, I cannot, like, just to give you an example, I built so much cool stuff in the past, just for myself, not for the public, not to release, not to make money. But built like a 2 years old, I wasn't even like coding, and vibe coding wasn't even a thing really, but that like would like keep an eye on the stock market, because I wanted to get like a specific apartment, and I implemented like filter that the property website wouldn't have. Like I only wanted like top floor apartments with like view and whatever. You cannot do this on most websites, but you can build it for yourself if you learn the skills. So yeah, it's a fun one. I would recommend that you do it. And no, I wouldn't recommend learning any coding, to be honest, not at all. I'm gonna get some shit for this, but a lot of like traditional coders, there's a lot of like anti-AI crowd in them, but I honestly wouldn't. I think that you're learning a lot of coding mindset related things as you vibe code your way through things, right? So you will learn automatically how to deploy things, how to make your apps more secure. Even if you get hacked once, screw it. You'll learn out of it, you know? Less thinking, more building. That's really my opinion. All right. Yeah, exactly. That's why the Claude Code is such a, like the Max subscription is such a good deal, right? Like I used to blast through like $100 or $200 just for like demo projects, not for like production projects. I used to blast through like, yeah, like easily $200 a day sometimes with the Anthropic API. And the Max plans even on Claude and on Cursor are like insane value, really, really insane value. Is Cursor better than Claude? Yes. Yes, I would say so. But hear me out on this, because there's a lot of people that love Claude, right? And I think if you are on the $100 plan, then Claude Code might have an edge. But if you're already spending $200, so let's briefly look at this, right? Because here's the thing. You have the Ultra plan on Cursor, which is 200, and you have the Max plan, which is also 200 if you go for the $200 plan, right? Now you get 20 times the usage, which is such an arbitrary way to say this, right? But you get 20 times the usage on Anthropic and 20 times the usage on Cursor. So now you have to ask yourself, do you want the lock-in of like Claude Code? So do you just ever want to use Claude Sonnet and Claude Opus? If yes, then roll with it, man. It's Claude Code is amazing. But here's the thing. Recently, in the last like 2-3 weeks, I have used O3 from OpenAI a lot. It is an incredibly underrated model for analysis. So if, for example, I want to add a new big feature, or I want to like, I don't know, add something big. I want to ask questions about projects that are like more complicated. I use O3 for this. And I cannot do that when I use Claude Code, right? Plus, you have this full service suite with Claude Code where you have the bug bot now, you have the agents now. So I would say Cursor is the better value, but things change all the time, you know. Let me go through some more question. Oh man, that's a funny one because I'm doing the same thing. I'm using School for my community, and I am so done with School. It's such a like limiting community. So many features missing, so I want to do the same. So good luck, man. I'm going to be your main competitor. Another question. You know what, guys? Let me just, you have a lot of questions, so maybe we'll just do that for now. What are your best practices in setting rules in Cursor? I have a very, very simple approach to this. I set rules as I need them. I don't proactively go out and look for rules. And instead, as you code more and more and more with these models, you'll see that they make the same mistakes again and again and again. So for example, Tailwind 4. If you've ever set up a project with Tailwind, you will see that very often it gets confused between like Tailwind 3 and Tailwind 4, and then it like uses some if you have a Tailwind configuration that guides any agent, not only Cursor, any agent into doing the right things for the things that you do all the time, that makes a lot of sense. It's also true for like Next.js. There's a lot of like Next.js things that have changed in the last year or two, right? So when you run into problems often, write rules for that. That's how I do it. All right, next question. I have a 3-day constraint for a fairly simple full stack application. Would you recommend upgrading to Max and using Claude Code? I'm currently on the Pro. Which model would you use? So listen, if what model is, people overestimate the power of Opus versus Sonnet. Sonnet is incredible. Opus is better, no doubt, but not to an extent that it makes sense. So if you really want to like plow through it, write a ton of code, go for the $100 Claude plan because it's good. It's really, really good. The $100 Claude plan, it will downgrade you every 5 hours because it's like the way that Claude Code works. Not only Claude Code, Claude in general, your subscription. It doesn't matter if you're Pro, Max, or a Max 20X. Sorry, guys. It resets every 5 hours. So when you start using Claude, even on the web or in the Claude Code client, let me just. Wow, I'm still recovering a little bit. But when you send the first message, a 5-hour countdown starts. And then 5 hours later, your limits reset. So in this like 5 hours, you will be downgraded within 10 minutes to Sonnet from Opus on the $100 plan. That doesn't happen on the $200 plan, but it's not worth it. So yeah, I would say Claude Code is a really good bet for $100 a month. Yeah, so this one I already answered earlier, but yeah, I would say if you're already a coder, then you have a huge advantage in the world of vibe coding because I see a lot of things, even when I'm like on calls with clients or my students, right? Then I see a lot of things that they don't due to the experience that I made as a coder. So if you're learning coding on the side, especially what I like to call the coding mindset, right? So the things that are not just like the syntax of the code, but more about like, what are packet managers? You know, how can I like deploy things? How do I use GitHub? How do I like merge code conflicts and all of that jazz, right? So these type of things are definitely useful, even in the vibe coding age. All right, Sys Teams asking, in your course, he's talking about my AI coding blueprint. Do you use and learn how to use Claude Code in depth within Cursor? No, not yet, but I'm planning to either re-record parts of this course soon or make separated, because right now, if you buy the coding blueprint, you'll get access to the course and the community. But I'm thinking about decoupling this so that you get just the course And for the community, maybe there's like a monthly subscription. And in that community, maybe I could make, I don't know, like a weekly thing or like a weekly call or a live stream like this or something like this. But no, for now, it is actually Cursor and Windsurf mostly. Okay, let's do some more questions. What are your thoughts on TRAE? Listen, TRAE is a tough one because my business manager actually was also reaching out to them recently, and they wanted to do a sponsored video, and I would love to do it. In the process, and we'll do it in the future, we'll do like a sponsored TRAE video in the future, but not for now. So in the process, what I asked them is like, point blank, do you train your systems on user data? And they said no. Then I went to the privacy policy of TRAE, and it was pretty clear that it said, yes, we train data. Yes, we take your data. Yes, so and I was like, okay, what are you doing, right? And they said, okay, cool, I get it. We are actually working in July. They said they're going to start working on a privacy mode editor. So to answer your question, TRAE has the best deal in the business, but currently they train their systems with your data. So if you're okay with this, if you're just starting out, then I think TRAE is a fantastic way to get started. Otherwise, if you just want to get the deal that is TRAE, but you don't want to train, you don't let them train their systems with your data, then maybe wait until they introduce the privacy thing. All right, James is saying, by the way, after the course, I've done 3 different software contracts, a couple of plugins, and now I'm building an app. James, I am so proud of you, man. This is so cool. I'm so happy for you. This is really, really cool. I need to talk to you because, guys, James, he's a student of mine. He's in the Blueprint community, and yeah, I'm gonna DM you. I want to hear more about this, James. All right, more questions. I'm a non-tech person. Most of my subscribers are, I think. I think some have some coding experience, but I really want to talk to people like you. I talk to non-technical people in a way that hopefully is accessible. And if ever something isn't clear, just ask. I'm explaining it to you. When using Cursor and Claude Code, what's the clear separation between their roles? What shall I do with Claude Code and what should I do with Cursor? Are there overlapping activities? Yeah, they overlap a lot. Mostly, I would say. I would say they're basically the same, right? I would say you don't need both. I do. I have both. I love both, but it's just because I have subscriptions for everything because of this business, right? If I didn't have this channel, I wouldn't have subscriptions to Claude Code and to Cursor. That would never happen. I would probably, right now, as of July 2nd, I would probably only have a Cursor subscription. All right, cool. Peter is a friend of mine. Hey, Peter. As someone who's overwhelmed by all the AI tools out there, would your AI coding blueprint help me get structured workflow for coding with AI? Yeah, absolutely, man. I can give you access if you want to. You just have to ask, But yeah, absolutely. The coding blueprint, it's exactly for non-technical people, super narrowed down. It's exactly for people like you. Can you show a demo of using Claude in Cursor? Yeah, sure. Let me answer some more questions. Let me just go through them real quick, and then let's jump into Cursor and I'll show you how it works there. Do you think the best Cursor model is Sonnet 4? No, it is Opus 4. Opus 4, but not by a lot. Sonnet 4 is the best coding model if you're not sitting on a lot of money. Sonnet 4 is available as inside your subscription in like Windsurf, Cursor, TRAE, Augment, and whatever. So Sonnet is really, really good. But if you're sitting on a pile of cash, then Opus is just a little bit better. There's a huge diminishing return. You don't get that much for your money if you upgrade to Opus, but Sonnet is really, really good. All right. Michael Vosberg is asking, hi Rob, still positive on Augment? Yeah, I still have Augment. I still have it installed. It's one of the subscriptions, one of the many that I have. And yeah, I love it. My problem with Augment is that it feels a little bit slow. The results are incredible. And that's what I said in my featured video. The results are really good. It super actively searches very, very often. It switches seamlessly between models without you even thinking about it. It just feels a little slow and it drives me nuts. I feel like Cursor and Claude Code are just like tick, 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 while Augment is like tick, tick, right? So it's a bit annoying. All right, I see Victor asked me a million times, what's your thoughts on TRAE? Man, I answered that, you know? So yeah, take it easy, bro. Take it easy. What is the limit on the $20 Cursor? Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's actually one that is extremely annoying. I really like Cursor. I really like the software, but they have just changed the way that they like charge people, right? So previously you had these like 500 fixed requests and then unlimited, what they called slow requests. This has now changed to something called rate limits. My problem with these rate limits is that they are completely, what's the word? Intransparent? It's just not obvious. They don't say, okay, you can have like this many tokens or something per hour. No, they don't say that at all. They say that in the same way that Anthropic does. They say like you have like standard limits on the Pro plan and then 20 times the limits on the Ultra plan. What does limits mean? I don't know. It's very annoying. So unfortunately, as much as I would like to, I cannot answer that question. But if you ever find out, please let me know, because yeah, it's Crane asks a really good question. Why is everyone that talks about AI trying to sell me something? Yeah, man, because it's a gold rush, right? It's you can think about that in a bad way, or you can think about that in a way that what could you sell? What could you buy? Or what could you build to sell, right? That's how I see this. So I got lucky in this case because I used to be a developer for a very long time, and now the skill comes back to me. So obviously I'm monetizing on it, but it's, yeah, it's common. I give you that. Right. Next question. What's the Cursor unlimited agent request? Yeah, I just said that. Unfortunately, there's no such thing. I don't know what the unlimited agents are. They even, I'm just looking at their website. Let me go there. So they even say that, right? They don't even say unlimited anymore. They say extended limits on agent. That's what they say now. So I don't know. And I think, like, based on that, you are already the third person who is asking. I think Cursor needs to do a better job in explaining their rate limits, because they explain them, but it's not good. It's not good at all. Okay. Got TRAE, Windsurf, and Cursor annual sub, but I prefer to pay $200 to Claude Max. Yeah, man, it's hard to argue, man. I love Claude Code just as much as you do. There's just some magic to Claude Code that no one can describe. And they were the first, right? And then suddenly there was like Codex CLI from OpenAI. Now there's like Gemini CLI from Google. And now that Cursor has just poached the two lead people from the Claude Code team, maybe there's going to be a Cursor CLI, but I wouldn't wait for it, you know? Yeah, I mean, you're number 4, man. Same. It's everyone is a little bit confused. Everyone is a little bit confused by this. Just 1 second, guys. Yeah, I was just sick for like a week and a half while I was traveling, so I'm still recovering a little bit. James, no one actually knows what the limits are. Yeah, exactly. There is, like James says here, there is now the $60 plan, which, if you go back to the Cursor pricing limits, it's not advertised here, but it does exist. So if you are on the Pro plan, or if you already subscribed and you go to your subscription, you will see a Pro Plus plan, which has like 3 times the limit or 5 times the limit or something like that. James, correct me if I'm wrong. To the Pro plan that you can subscribe to. So it's like a nice inner, like in between the Pro for 20, then the Pro Plus for 60, and then the Ultra for 200. Oh, I love that question, Alex. What's your favorite tech stack for SaaS? So right now, it's the one that everyone basically runs, right? It is, well, actually, I have a minimized version of it. So I just run Next.js, I run Supabase, I run these through Versal, and then sometimes I get an Upstash Redis database to just store some small things that are not really made for a database, you know. Then I use Tailwind 4, Shadcn, and that's pretty much it. But I have to be honest, there are more complex tech stacks right now available that enable things like queue workers and things like that, right? Which are really, really interesting. I need to look into them because before I stopped coding like 5-6 years ago, and before I started, no, not 5-6 years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and then started again, a lot has happened, man. So there's now a lot of very simple ways to do really cool things. And that's why I'm on X all the time. I'm actually paying for like the maximum X account so I don't see all the ads. But yeah, there's a lot happening on I'm actually on X here. There's a lot of like people, like if I, for example, like that's a good question to ask, right? If you just say like vibe coding tech stack or something like that, there's always people talking about their own stacks, and it's worth reading through these. It's really fun because some people, for example, they talk about, I don't know, what the heck is space-time database? I've never heard about them, you know? So there's a lot of different services that I am not using right now, but that I would love to start looking into, you know? When building a project, is there a lot of extra cost in using the API to create a product? Well, it depends on what you mean, right? If you mean the API to code, then no. It could be as little as $20 a month on Cursor. But if you mean the APIs that your app uses, then I would say it depends. So a request to an AI like OpenAI or Gemini or Claude will cost you a few cents or so per request. I hope that answers your question. I believe that Gemini is smart enough to be as good as Claude if the prompt building is better. SW bench is, yeah, I agree. The benchmarks suck, right? The benchmarks are not good at all. It's they're just do your own research. Just try the things that you want to try, and yeah, just take it from there, you know. Gemini is really good, and I think there are a lot of use cases. People always try to say, oh, this is the best, this is the best. Listen, they're all trained on ever so slightly different training sets. And that means that Gemini, for example, might have had access to more code examples of a specific language or something like that, right? So saying something is better than the other, I'm a big fan of not doing that because, yeah, as you say, they're all kind of good enough. Jahoni is saying, I'm developing a web app using React, Vite, Tailwind, and Canva. The iOS app will use Canva for the whole screen. I'm using Cloud Corpus Cursor. Is this decent setup for a non-coder? Honestly, I don't know what Canva is. And what do you mean by canvas? Do you mean like actual canvas? Like painting the screen? Or what do you mean? Like just clarify and maybe I can give you some advice. That's a fantastic question. Hagen, do you think, guys, I'm gonna do like 2-3 minutes more of questions and I'm gonna jump into Cursor and yeah, just play around there and upgrade a little bit to the Ultra plan as well. And then let's do some like live coding and testing, you know. But Hagen is asking, do you think the idea of the product, software product will change? Yes. But we're not there yet. A lot of people, especially on like X and whatever, they want to believe you, oh, SaaS are dead. No, they're not dead, man. I'm teaching people all day. It's not like you can like sit down as a completely non-technical person right now and just write yourself like an app like Calendly or Gmail or something. It doesn't work like that yet, you know? But we're getting there. And maybe not like big apps, maybe not like full email clients and whatever, though I think the better direction to ask yourself is, now that there are MCP servers, and MCP servers are sort of replacing APIs in apps. Behind the MCP servers, obviously an API, right? Let's not forget that. But the APIs are being plugged into MCP servers, and then these MCP servers are being made available to language models. And that can change things, because if you believe that there's a world where there's a more general intelligence, and that intelligence has access through MCP servers to your Gmail or email accounts, to your Spotify, to your like phone and all the other things, then you don't need a software product anymore. Because instead of going into your Gmail and saying like, yo, what's up? You can just say, yo, what are my last 5 emails? Or hey, can you write an email to John about blah blah blah? Or what was that? What was it that John asked me? Right, like these types of things. And I think that will drastically change how we think about software products. Yeah. Timely is asking, is it? Yeah, I answered the question already, but let me do it again quickly. Yeah, it's always good to learn some coding basics, but the thing is that, listen, I started coding when I was 13 years old. That is a whole long time ago now. And the way that I started is completely by a method that's like learning by doing, right? So instead of sitting down and like reading a freaking book or something like that, I'm a big fan of practical learning. Have an idea and just stay put and do it, because I saw, I don't know who was it, like Alex Hormozy or something like that, but someone the other day said that the secret that everyone is looking for of success is to continuously do things that other people don't want to do. If you continuously do things that other people don't want to do, you're going to be successful. So if you are just sticking to your goals, if you're just learning how to code, how to make this work, then you're going to be successful. There's no doubt in my head. Next.js for the win. Yeah, I agree, Charles. It's my favorite framework. It gets so much shit that I love it. Do you know about 10x tool calls? People are getting 500 agent. Yeah, that's true. It is even more, I think. I think on Cursor Max it's like 50 or I don't know, like 200 tool calls or something like that. So it's pretty wild. Let me find, someone had a question. There. Conva.js is a JavaScript library that simplifies working with HTML. Yeah, okay. So I don't know if, I know very little, like I'll be honest with you. I don't like to bullshit people. I could like pull an answer like out of my butt, but I'm not an iOS dev. I don't know enough about it, right? So I don't know. What I would do in these situations is I would go to Grok or ChatGPT and ask them if it was a good idea. I explain to them the app that you're trying to build and then ask them if that would be a good approach. They will know better than me. What's your thought on Gemini CLI? Yeah, I mean, I haven't tested it because I don't use Gemini day to day. I'm deep in the Anthropic and OpenAI O3 ecosystem, but yeah, I hear it's not as good as people hoped. All right, I'm working on a startup. I want to use most AI to build it. Suggest me some of them. The Hazik. I hope I pronounce your name correctly, man. I would stick to one tool. That's I tweet that all the time. People always ask for like, what's the best tool? There's no such thing. Choose one tool. Choose something like, get OpenAI, ChatGPT for your everyday stuff and Cursor for coding or something like that, and you'll be fine. Yassine is saying, I just got Cursor. You have hit rate limit on Cursor when using Sonnet 4. That is a really interesting question. Can you let me know, what plan are you on? Are you on the $20 plan? Because I would love to understand. I haven't hit the limit yet with Sonnet 4, so I would love to understand what you did to hit the limit. We really need more Q&A live streams. Yeah, I want to do it. I really do. I'm completely sitting in the blind, guys. I don't know how many people, actually I can see 60 people are watching right now, but I don't know how many views the stream has. I don't know anything. I'm just sitting here answering some questions because I want to just test it out, you know. So I'm going to do more of these, yeah. Let me read some more questions because I'm going to do like 2-3 more questions and that's it. So briefly, is Claude worth it? Yeah. Maybe for 1 hour coding, you can be on the pro plan. Yeah, maybe that should be enough. It could be. But if you want to go cheap, man, then look into TRAE. TRAE. It's from ByteDance, the company that makes TikTok. Wild, I know. But they have like a plan that costs, I think, $3 in the first month and then $10 or $12 or so every month after, but they do train their system on your data, so keep that in mind. All right, Alex, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm on a pro plan and I'm hitting the rate limit every few prompts. Are you sure that you are on Sonnet, not Sonnet Thinking, and not Opus 4? Because now Opus, you would have to be on the max plan. So interesting, man. Interesting. That's very interesting. If you, I don't know, it's hard to help you here now in live stream, but I've coded quite significantly with $20 Cursor and I haven't hit the limit. So I'm very curious on how you do it, you know? All right, guys, it's time to start going into Cursor. So let me just in the background. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. So I have Cursor set up here already. And let me just, I have Augment here as well, by the way. So I have Augment, Cursor, and in fact, if I, for some reason, it's so weird, but if I generate like a file, test.txt, then Claude pops up too. So now I have all three big coders here. It's just pretty wild. It's so I have Claude Code here. I have the Cursor chat here, and I have Augment here. So the way that you can use Claude here, let me just delete this file now because I don't need it anymore. The way that Claude works inside of Cursor is very, very, very similar to Cursor itself. So really you have to ask yourself, what plan is the right fit for you, right? Because as I said earlier, let's just like quickly do this one more time. There is a $200 plan on Cursor. There's also a $20 plan, and there's a $60 plan, which they do not advertise here in between, but which you can upgrade to if you hit the limits of the $20 plan. And then there is the Claude plan, which either it is $17 annually or $20 if done monthly, or from $100, and then the next one would be $200, right? So you have to ask yourself, what limit do you want to get into, right? Do you want to pay $20 a month? Then maybe Cursor is the better thing to do. If you can spend up to $60, but not quite $100 a month, then maybe the Cursor Pro Plus plan, which I don't know, they have it somewhere in their docs. Let me show it to you. They have pricing here, billing, no, pricing, I think it is. Where is it? They have it somewhere, I know it for sure. I've definitely seen it recently. Is it here? I don't know, but they definitely have a, cannot see it now, but they definitely have a Pro Plus plan that allows you to, is it here? Oh yeah, here it is. Let me just zoom in a little bit. There we go. Is the Pro Plus plan for $60 a month with 3 times the limits of the standard Pro plan. So if you don't want to quite spend $100 on Claude Max, then you can go for the Pro Plus plan in Cursor, which will give you significantly more than either one of these $20 plans. And then the next would be to go to the, let me close this. The next would be the $100 max subscription, which gives you 5 times the limits of the normal Claude Code. That is the subscription that I have the most experience with, because that's the subscription that I am on right now. I have not yet hit the limits. I constantly get downgraded from Opus to Sonnet, which is expected, but I haven't hit the limits. But I have a couple of students in my AI coding blueprint. Let me just run a little banner. Bam! In my AI coding blueprint that have told me that they have reached the limit 2 or 3 times already. So it is not completely unheard of to hit the limits even on the $100 plan. But then if you are like a coder or you want to go like all in, then you have to ask yourself, do you want to go for the $200 max Claude plan, which exists, it's not shown here, or do you want to go for the $200 ultra plan from Cursor? And there, I would have to say, Benjamin just said, he hit the limits twice already. That is so interesting. What did you do, man? That's like, several people have told me that sometimes, and I've noticed that, maybe you have experience with that too. Sometimes Claude specifically, not only Claude Code, Claude in general, it has like a context leak or something like that. You ask it something and it gets so stuck in like arguing with itself and reading too many things that, wow, 12 hours straight. Holy moly, man. What a beast. You're a beast, man. That's wild. So sometimes it goes away and it makes too many requests. And then it can blast through your context limits much faster than usual. But yeah, so generally you have to ask yourself, $200 a month, do you go with Cursor or do you go with Anthropic? Honestly, I just canceled my Cursor plan. Not my Cursor plan, my Cursor I'm about to upgrade. The Claude plan, because now that the Ultra plan exists, I owe it to myself to try it, because as I said in the beginning of the stream, many of you may have not been here, Cursor has a lot more features, right? It has not only Claude, but it has also the, okay, now it forces me to like go to my dashboard. Let me like log out here real quick. So it has all these like features, right? Like it has the tab functionality, right? Where you can just like see suggestions and just see tab, which if you're not a coder, it's not really interesting. But if you are a coder, it's really, really interesting. Or you have, it doesn't show that here actually. Oh, maybe features. Yeah. So it has the bug editor. It has the agents. I don't know if you have like seen the agents yet. That's something that that Claude doesn't have right now, right? Where you can just like run multiple agents in the background. I mean, you can kind of, but they still run on your system. And with Claude, they run completely in the cloud, right? And they also have the bug bot. I don't know if they have it on the website. Bug bot? No, they don't have it here. But they have this like bug bot where it goes into your GitHub repository and just fixes things. Or you can ask it to fix things. You can ask it to like analyze if there are bugs or something like that before you put the code live that you've just like committed. So it is just, it has more services, it has more models, and they guarantee that you get at least $200 worth of API credits if you go on the $200 plan, right? So when you do that, you have to ask yourself, what's your favorite here? You know, do you want to continue using Claude Code, which doesn't give you the bug board and the agents, and there's other things, right? Like let me open like a project, for example. Let me go into, I don't know. Let me go into let me open one actually. There's maybe let's go into MacroPulse. That's a project that a lot of people of you always like. So MacroPulse is this tool that I wrote. Many of you may have seen this before. It is this one, MacroPulse .ai. So it's this one where you can see like market information. Wow, why is this in a dark, not in a dark mode? That's wild. Oof. Oh, sorry for that. So it analyzes the market, right, based on like some stock prices, and I built this. So now we're looking at the code for it, right? And here you would have to ask yourself, okay, if I open Claude, and now it has some information, right? So if I say something like, if I like highlight something here, it actually also knows that I've selected some code here, and I can ask it questions about it, which is nice. But I cannot like add it to chat, because if I add it to chat, then it adds it here into the Cursor chat, for example, right? It also doesn't have like inline things. So if I wanted to, like, if I just press, see, immediately it makes a suggestion. So if I say something like new, it just makes like suggestions that are very easy to use if you use Cursor, right? If you're not a coder, it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But another thing that it can do is, or what it cannot do is that sometimes it launches like a terminal, because in Cursor and VS Code, you can launch terminals like this, right? And then it might run something like pnpm def or something like that. And it will then read this terminal and see if there's any errors that might pop up, and it will fix it automatically. Claude cannot do that, right? Another thing that I noticed, and I said that in the augment video already, is that while Claude can search, it really doesn't want to. Like I didn't even know that Claude has a search because it has never volunteered to search. Never, not one time, right? So you have to ask yourself why, and it's probably because it's an expensive operation, right? It burns a lot of tokens and they try to avoid that. But Cursor and Augment, they search all the time. If they run into problems, if they think that maybe it wasn't an old version of something or something like that, then it will just do a web search, figure out its mistake and fix it. Claude doesn't do that, right? Having said that, again, I would probably make it mostly based on if you're like, if you want to spend not $100 a month, then I would stay in Cursor. If you want to spend 100, I would stay in Claude Code. If you want to spend 200, then I would probably go back to Cursor. That's how I would do it. So do you have any questions about anything before I start like using it a little bit? You scroll up a little bit. I see people complaining that are using Opus for Max exclusively. Yeah, that's my worry too, right? So when I use it on the Max plan, which let's just like extrapolate, right? Because if I use it on the Max plan with Opus, I get downgraded after 20% of my token usage within 10 minutes. So maybe I would say within an hour on the $100 plan, I would for sure, if I stick, because you can do that, right? If you are in Claude Code, you can say model, and then you can choose. You can choose default, which is Opus 4 for up to 20% of the usage limits, then Sonnet 4. Or you can just say Opus, that's it. But it reaches your usage limits 5 times faster, right? Which, yeah, you will, if I do this in less than an hour on the $100 plan, and the timer of the rate limits resets every 5 hours, there's no way that you can blast through with Opus at 20x. In my head, it makes sense, I promise you guys. But like the max $100 plan gives you 5 times the limits, and then the max $200 plans gives you 4 times the limits of the $100 plan, right? So you get, instead of, if I would run out within 1 hour, then I would run out within 4 hours with the max $200 plan, but the limit only resets after 5 hours. So yeah, it won't work, definitely. Alex, what do you mean? What do you mean your Q&A bot? You mean like a ChatGPT type of thing? I hit the rate limit on both Cursor Pro and Claude Pro, and I just have to wait 2 to 3 hours to continue. Yeah, that's the thing, right? So on Cursor, it is just not transparent. They just don't tell you. They just don't tell you how much you can code. At least on Cursor, you know for sure. You know that, sorry, on Cursor, they don't know, they don't tell you. But on Claude Code, they tell you that every 5 hours it will reset, and then you just start from scratch, right? So at the very least, every 5 hours, you're back. But with Claude Pro, with like Cursor, yeah, it's completely not transparent. Can you show how, do you mean, can I show you how to optimize your usage? That's really tough. That is really, really tough to do, to be honest. In an ideal world, we don't have to optimize our usage. What you can, no, not really anymore. Not in Cursor, not in Cursor. If you use Windsurf or TRAE or Augment, which are still request-based and not token-based, there you can optimize a lot, because there you can just say, you can ask bigger questions, because now it doesn't really matter anymore. If you ask Cursor, make this button blue, that's okay, because you pay now per usage, no longer per request. But if you go into Augment and you say something like, make this button blue, then that is one request. And you may have only 500 requests every month. So if you use an AI solution that actually uses requests, then you can and should optimize them. But if you use Cursor, then it doesn't really make sense. If you use Claude, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, let me look about the James. I know if you're still around, I know you wanted me to like play with Claude in Cursor a little bit. I can. If you have an idea for something that we can quickly build or something, we can do that with Claude Code inside of Cursor, just if you want to see it. Yahoni, man, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. I bought the $200 OpenAI plan when Codex was announced. Yeah, me too. I've already canceled again. It was a pain to get used to, but the model is pretty concise. Yeah, because it uses O3, right? O3, well, it uses something based on O3. I love O3, man. O3 is so underrated. Like whenever I ask a project, like if I wanted to do something here right now in Cursor, and I would go to like O3, and is there two O3s? Wow, there's also O3 Pro, but that will blast through it. And I just say something like, let me just say something like, I don't even know, but let me see. So sometimes the prices on I am dictating something to the AI right now. The prices on the website end up being just zero change and $0. So it feels like sometimes these scrapers don't work appropriately. Deeply look into the code and check the scrapers specifically, why the results could be zero sometimes, and then suggest some ways to prevent it, maybe to request or like repeat the request or something like that. But analyze the entire project, have a really good understanding of what the project does, and then present me with your findings. So now I'm going to send it with O3, and you're going to see that it usually, unless it's really confident, it will read a lot of files. Sometimes it will go away for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Claude doesn't do that, right? So you see, it will like read a lot of different files now. I'm hoping it will do it now too. Like usually, like very often, I'm telling you, it's like 2-3 minutes. It's not unusual. So it really has a full understanding. And yeah, Codex works in the same way. Still, I have canceled the $200 OpenAI subscription. In fact, I'm not even subscribed to OpenAI right now. Someone asks, were the augment winners announced? Yes. Yes, they were. Sorry, man. I use the Max plan as the Pro has really bad rate limits. Yeah, the Pro is just not made for coding. It's nice that Claude gives us this opportunity, but yeah, it's not made for coding. It's just to warm you up to the idea of Claude Code, you know? Benjamin is asking a really interesting question. So yeah, that actually, you got me. That is actually a really good way to optimize your usage. So by the way, just I'll answer your question in a second, but now in the background, you already see. So it was thinking now for 42 seconds, right? And it will give you a proper understanding of what the project does and why the problem might happen. And it does so way better, in my opinion, than Claude does. And so O3 is a really good model for it. Wow, it actually goes in there. Okay, cool. So let me answer Benjamin's question. So earlier someone asked like, how can you optimize your usage? And yeah, Benjamin, I don't know if you mean that, but yeah, yeah, that's a great way to optimize your usage, right? If you compress, which I don't think it's possible in Cursor, but if you compress it in Claude Code, so in Claude Code, you can just say compact. That's what it's called here. And then it takes all the memory, the temporary memory that it has right now, and it tries to summarize it. That's what they mean. It summarizes your conversation history, and such every follow-up request will use fewer tokens. And that, as Benjamin rightfully says, will indeed lead to the limits running out slower. Well done, Benjamin. Good catch. Can we connect Supabase MCP to Claude, and is it better than Cursor? So it depends. I answered that in the stream a few times. If Claude is better than Cursor now, it really depends on how much you want to pay. If you're on the $200 limit, then yes, maybe. If you don't want to spend that much, then Claude at $100 might be a better idea. And yeah, you can connect any Supabase MCP to Claude. And I have, actually. I don't know if you can, if I just, yeah, I think there's a command here. Yeah, I have the Supabase MCP here. You can see that right here. Context 7, which I rarely use, but everyone hypes about. And then the 4.0 mini search MCP, which is my own MCP server. Dan asks, do you think using request kind of plans like Cursor, TRAE, Copilot, Cursor is not request-based anymore, right? It's, I mean, it can, but it's now a legacy. So now TRAE, Windsurf, Copilot, and TRAE, they are still request-based, but Cursor is not anymore. It's much cheaper compared to direct API token usage. It's not even comparable. You will spend so much time to, so much money, not time, so much money on the APIs, it's not even funny. Like, it is, I'm not joking. Like, I had days where I spent $150 on Claude 3.7 back then. It is incredibly expensive to use the API, so yeah. All right, James says, use the write my email starting sequence so I can just see the flow. Okay, so James is talking about, James is a student of my blueprint, and James is talking about a prompt that is part of my blueprint coding course, link in the description down below. And there is a prompt that we can use to set up a project. So let's just do that real quick. So I'm gonna, let me just double check if I haven't selected. Yeah, I'm gonna completely kill this and just use this now. Then I'm gonna open a new demo window. Okay. So we're just gonna run a little demo prompt now here. And that's the prompt. It's very, very, very simple. It is just create a new project using this command, npx create next app, write my email with Supabase, then launch the development server. So I'm going to kill this on the right and we're going to just run it. So this is now Claude code inside of Cursor, right? Which you don't have to run, but if you don't want to run it in a console like this one here, right? This is also Claude code and so is this one. So now we'll see. Yeah, so one thing that I really, really like, can I make this bigger? Yeah, a little bit. One thing that I really, really like about Claude is the to-do list. It creates a to-do list for what it wants to do. And I really like that, right? So now it made a to-do list and it actually even updated it. It says I need to create a Next.js app with Supabase template. I need to navigate to the project directory. I need to launch the development server and I need to provide access instructions, right? So now it runs the, there's actually something a little bit annoying because in Cursor, you can very simply enable a YOLO mode, full automate mode, right? But with Cursor, you have, with Claude, you have only two options. You can either enable build, like command on command. So here you have three options. You can execute this command. You can execute this command and not ask again for this particular project, or you can ask it to do something different, right? But if you just want to go full auto mode, this doesn't exist yet easily. There is like a hidden command that you can launch it with, but not really. So well, we're going to just continue. You can ask questions, guys, by the way, right? In the meantime, I'm happy to answer them while we test it. Jahoni says, but the O3 model in Windsurf always gets confused and the plan mode never finds the bugs. That's really interesting. That is really interesting. So there might be a reason that Cursor only allows O3 to run in what they call the max mode. That means it runs with the full automated context window, with a full context window, no limitations, while previously, and that's probably what Windsurf still does too, it restricts O3 a little bit in the process, so it might not be as good, you know. Loop asks Gemini CLI from Claude, how do I like it? I haven't tried it yet. I probably won't unless there's like huge demand. But for the others, Benjamin says Gemini CLI is not in the ballpark. Yeah, it's what people said, and that's why I didn't try it myself yet. All right, so now you see there's an error here in Claude Code, but it will fix it because it's currently on Opus, and Opus is really good. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. So a friend of mine is on a MacBook Pro 16-inch with 32 gigs of RAM, and when he uses in the background, when he uses Cursor, his system slows down. When he uses Claude Code, it doesn't. So some people experience system slowdowns when they use Cursor. I don't know why. I don't have them, but I have 96 gigs of RAM in this MacBook. All right. So now we can already see one of the things that I don't really like about Claude Code inside of Cursor, right? Usually what would happen in this case is it would run a new terminal and open it so that you can just like interact directly with it. Here, it just says, okay, the development server is now running. You can access your Next.js app. So actually, let's copy paste this and go to Dia and open it. Yeah, and there's the app, right? So that is the app that we have just set up. James is asking, so do you then use the Cursor agent for fine-tuning and let Claude Code do the heavy lifting? That is a really interesting and very accurate way to describe my current workflow, James. So right now, I do the massive amounts of codes with Claude Code. But I only do that because I have the subscription. Going forward, when I'm upgrading to the Ultra plan, which I wanted to do right now, but yeah, I'm very stingy with my upgrades. So because I already have so many subscriptions, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it like tomorrow, I think, when I have like a full day to test as well. But yeah, right now that's exactly what I do. I run full things, like full project setups with Claude Code, and then I go into Cursor and I continue doing like smaller things there. Sometimes I do them in parallel, which is pretty wild. But yeah, that's what I do right now. You can use Shift Tab to auto accept. That is true. That is true, Jahoni. You are totally right. There's Shift Tab, which I completely forgot about. So I just turned that on. There's actually 3 modes. There's the plan mode. So Shift Tab is the way. You go into plan mode. Thanks a lot, man. I totally forgot about that. There's the plan mode, there's the normal mode, and there's the auto accept edits. I think the edits, though, they don't do shell commands. It's just edits. And then for the other thing, it's exactly what you said. You have to run this like dangerously skip permissions thing, you know, which my audience, because they're not coders, all of them, they don't usually do it. But yeah, you could say something like, now let's just do a test. Create a little app that mimics Instagram, but with mock data and pictures that you find on the internet. Do a web search in the process and just make it look like Instagram. Let's see. That's just a stupid test, but let's see what happens. YOLO mode is fun. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes someone on X said that the other day, that what he does is he runs YOLO mode for a project just to like see what's possible, what the model strengths and problems are, he learns from the entire process, then he deletes all of this, and based on what he has learned, he runs it again. And I'm a big fan of that. I say that again and again, that language models are kind of like a casino table, right? You have to roll the dice multiple times because the results will be different. Even with the exact same prompt, they can be different, but even if you modify like just a few things, the results can be very different too. So now Claude Code has created, again, like a huge to-do list, right? Like search for Instagram UI design patterns and layouts. Okay. Now it's doing a web search, by the way, but it only ever does this when I ask it to do so. So I literally just say here, like, what did I say? Like search the internet or find on the internet or something like that. Do a web search. You have to be very explicit with Claude Code, and I'm kind of annoyed by that, to be honest. Loop is saying, I'm thinking that there will be more area for builders to build any terminal level tools. Yeah, I agree. I think there will be more terminal level tools. It's just, I'm wondering, because Cursor has poached the product manager, and I think it was the lead developer of Claude Code. I wonder if they see a future where there is a Cursor CLI. It would be a competing product for them, right? So I don't see it. I think they will take what went well in Claude Code. So for instance, the to-do lists, right, which are amazing. That's nice. Web search, free stock photos, Unsplash, pixels, high quality images for social media. So yeah, maybe this will actually work now, but yeah. I will finish this build now here in Claude Code so that you can like see what it looks like. And then I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream. So if you have any more questions about anything, now is the time. Very good question. Full disclosure, they are a sponsor of mine, but I use them all the time. And it is called, let me find the link. It is this one. This one. It's called Whisper Flow, and I've tried a few of them, and it was really, they're all kind of good, but for a while there I was recommending one of them, and then that just went downhill and became really, really bad. And then I started getting emails from other text-to-speech AI dictation apps, and I tested all of them, and that was the best one. I asked them if they want to sponsor me, and there we are. No worries, James. I think I'm gonna see I'm gonna see the analytics of this live stream and see if that was like useful for people. But I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna do it more often, maybe in addition to a YouTube video or something like that. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question marks, asking what's the best AI coding tool right now. Man, there's really no such thing. They're all good enough. Jahoni's asking, I'm hoping Codex CLI improves and start using O3. Gemini CLI will always make waves too. Yeah, I hope Gemini will get better, especially because, let's be honest, Gemini has a rumored coding optimized model version of Gemini 2.5 Pro, right? And if that pops up, or the, what is it called? Deep Think model or something like that, they will obviously be put into Gemini CLI, and yeah, that could be a big one. What is a good bug finder for code? Any AI, man. Any AI, I would say, right? I would say O3 might be the best at identifying bugs. Maybe Gemini too, but I have better experience with O3. And yeah, Loop, you're totally right. Like the amount of pressure that the Anthropic team put out there on huge competitors like Cursor, it is insane. I mean, listen, it's just something about coding in a client, in a terminal, that it makes a lot of people really happy, I think. It's just super efficient. There's no distractions. It's nice. It's nice. A lot of people keep asking me about CodeRabbit. I think, let me check real quick. I don't know if they reached out to me. Someone like that. I think some bug finder reached out to me in the past. No, it wasn't them. A lot of people ask me about CodeRabbit. There's also other tools. Oh, Claude Code just finished, by the way. So let's just look at this. There's also a lot of other. Oh, wow, that really does look like Instagram. Holy moly! Even the images. Wow, what the heck? Look at that. Are you kidding me? What the actual? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm pretty impressed here, with Opus. You cannot click on anything, but wow. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. Is there like is it like, yeah. It even works. I mean, it's not perfect, but it even works for mobile. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Praise YOLO mode. Praise YOLO mode. All right, guys. Oh wait, one second. Till saying thank you for all your videos. I learned so much. Till, thank you so much. Really means a lot to me, man. You have no idea. I tried to make the content creation work for a solid 2.5 years. I have actually a tech channel with like 5,000 subscribers or so, which was so much work. And I just didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy coding and like teaching you things, right? So it's like, I'm really happy. I'm just as happy about that you are here as that I make videos for you, It's I'm really happy about all of this. Bra is asking, bro, according to you now, which is the best AI coding editor? Cursor. Cursor. It's Cursor. Unless you're like money constrained, in which case I would probably go for Windsurf if you have some money to spend because it doesn't train on your data, or TRAE if you want the absolute best freaking deal and you don't care about that they train their systems on your data. Not me, but a good friend of mine. And what he observed is that he reached limits way faster than if he used the subscription in the client. So it looks like Klein has terrible context optimization, while Claude Code must have some pretty good token context optimization. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's from a third-party friend, not myself. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Thank you very much. All right, guys, that's it. Okay, one more question. Loop asks, do you think Windsurf will drop a banger soon? Because maybe OpenAI might be doing something. Yeah, I think they have to. Otherwise, it would have been a... I mean, listen, let's be honest, right? I think Windsurf last round, no, not Windsurf. OpenAI's last round was like, what, like 300 billion or something like that? So what, they spent like a percentage, like literally like a single percent of their valuation on like Windsurf. So it's not like they have to make it work, right? So I wouldn't bet too big on it, but yeah, it could happen, and I hope it does. Competition is good for all of us. Okay, absolute last question, then I'm out. What is the best platform to build AI agents? Would you use Claude Code? I think AI agents are an umbrella term that people call a lot of different things right now. It's if you want to build something like truly like autonomous, that has a lot of like different flows flowing into each other, then using a platform like N8N or something would be much better than coding it all yourself. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed this. I'll do it again. And until next time, peace.